of connectivity issues. I don't know whether it is at my end or at your end. Okay, one or two more people.
Because Wi-Fi is.
Is Jonah audible for others? Am I the one who is missing?
It's audible for me, sir. I'm not sure about others.
Oh, okay. Now it is okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Little bit nervous, stressed,
Sir, I only wrote little bit nervous, sir.
little bit nervous. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Because we have to write the paper correctly, then it has to be accepted. So, how to make it proper like that? We'll get nervous.
Okay. So we are more worried about the outcome, whether it will meet the expectations. It could be anyone. It could be your guide, or it could be the journal to which we are submitting. So whether basically, first of all, it has to meet my expectation, our own expectations. If we are happy about the product, then we will be confident enough to share it with others. Okay. So yes. So for most of us, just give me a moment. So many times the problem is I'm really happy to see a lot of people say I am happy or I find joy in writing. I also try to correlate this answer with day zero assessment or self awareness assessment, wherein a lot of people suggested that I do not write very often. Maybe there is some gap in between, so people, even though they are not regular in their writing process, but the general tendency or the general belief is that the more regular you are with respect to writing, again, especially this habit of writing, develop and possess. Why? Of course, because research is one side, publication is the other side. The two sides are the same coin. Okay, coin cannot be a coin if there is only one side. Okay, there has to be two sides, the result and the publication. So publication is basically communication. So if you want to communicate well, you need to write well, because the the you know um, the predominant mode of communication in academic writing publications is publications. Okay, so basically we need to write as researchers, as academics. It is an important skill. Writing is an important skill, so we need to work on that. What happens most of the times, we start with a blank paper, right? So we know that we have to complete this writing part. Let's say we have completed a study and then we want to submit it to a paper. Okay, so we will try to find a time to sit down actually and then start writing. Okay, and most of the times it is a weekend, because weekend is a long period of time, so it will be easy for us to spend sufficient amount of time in the writing process. And we will also write the title, gearing ourselves for writing a longer piece. Usually the articles are around 3,000, 4,000 words. Sometimes it can go up to 7 or 8,000 words also, but in general an average is around 3,000 words, 3,500 words. The moment we write the title, the next words never come to us. Okay, so we keep thinking, because we want to have that perfect first sentence, that one sentence that will ensure that the reader is hooked to our writing, to our article. Okay, and especially if you think of abstract writing, it is very important because it is freely available for everyone, and it is also the trigger. It is like the teaser. It's YouTube reels. That 15 seconds or 30 seconds will decide whether that person wants to watch the entire movie or an interview. Okay, so that 30 seconds is very crucial. So this abstract of 200 to 50 words is very crucial, because the person who is scanning, right? So yesterday we talked about peck per use and the ponder framework. So someone is pecking, looking for the right article for their literature review. So that 200 words has to have to persuade or convince that person to consider this as in their library. So that first one sentence is very, very important. We wanted to make the best out of it. But after a lot of time, after 10 minutes or 15 minutes, we are not making much progress. So we started thinking what is around. Okay, the table is not really good. So let me first clean it up, tidy it up. And then we suddenly think of, oh, yesterday I received an email which I totally forgot to respond. So let me go back to it. That is also a writing process that will give motivation for us to write this. So let me go back to email, responding to that email and come back to writing later. So we go there. Once you go to the internet, then everything is over. In another 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you never know you are into something. You will be completely into, on your Instagram page or your Facebook page or something else completely. After 1 hour, 1.5 hours, oh my God. So let me go for a tea break or a coffee break, come back and start afresh. And this is a vicious circle that will always go on. Why? There are reasons. Okay. First of all, as you rightly pointed out, Jonna earlier said, we have that fear. Will it come out really well? When it comes to academic writing, we always think in terms of, native speaker level of language. For a moment, we forget that we are a English as a second language speaking country, writing country for that matter. Okay, speaking English and writing English are completely two different dimensions. I'm sure most of you have already recognized that. So we wanted to keep our standards to that high level. In business, I'm sure some of you or most of you would have heard about this. Minimum viable product. There is something called a minimum viable product. Okay, companies go for different possibilities. So one of them is to come out with the perfect model, perfect product that will meet all the expectations of the consumer. The ideal state, the utopian. The other one is a minimum viable product. If I market this product, it will meet the needs of the customer in one way or another. People will buy it. I can refine it, fine tune it, and improve it, and come out with better versions later. What examples can you think of? People come out with a product and keep improving it.
Mobile phone like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every year, these mobile phone companies keep coming out with different numbers 15, 16, 16 Pro, 16 Pro Max. It goes on, right? What does it mean? It means they keep improving their product over a period of time, right? If, for example, an Indian phone company or an American phone company thinks that, okay, I will come up with a product that will never be changed at any point of time. So the ideal product, first of all, it will never come out. Second, within 6 months or 1 year, it becomes obsolete. Because there cannot be an ideal product that never changes. The demands of the customers are completely changing or keep changing, and therefore you cannot have a product that never changes for 2 years or 3 years. So it is important for us as a writer to have a practical level of expectations. That's the first point. Set practical levels of expectations for your writing process. My grammar is bad, no problem. I haven't written for a long time, no problem. I'm not really sure if I can write 10 pages, no problem. You write the first page. Okay, let us not worry about the 10th page. Let us worry about the first page. In fact, academic writing is more advantageous in another manner because it is clearly segregated into different topics, right? Abstract, introduction, materials and methods or methodology as you would call it, discussions, results, okay, results, discussion, conclusion, references. right? It's a step-by-step, clearly defined step-by-step process. So you don't have to write the entire article in one day. It is sufficient if you write only the introduction, only the result section, only the discussion or conclusion. How do we cook? Do we turn on the stove and then go to the market to buy some vegetables? No. What is the cooking process? Very difficult question, I know. What is the cooking process? Where do we start?
First,
buy
decide what to cook, sir.
First of all,
We decide what to cook.
excellent. We think and then we decide what to cook. Okay.
Then we buy we keep ready the ingredients.
Ingredients.
Then do the cooking.
And then we cook. Okay, it starts with, as Vadivel would say, எதையும் plan பண்ணி பண்ணணும். Right? We start with the planning. What is it we are going to cook? If it is for our everyday cooking at home, that's different story. If there is a guest at home, then that's a different story. Okay, the special items will be there. So we start planning what to cook and then gather all ingredients, be it vegetables or other spices and other things. We gather everything, clean them, cut them to the requirements and keep everything ready. Only then we turn on the stove, right? That is also exactly the process that we are going to apply for the writing. Okay. Before you even write, the first process that you wanted to start is keep thinking. Okay, let's say you set aside Saturday, I'm going to write this article. Saturday, Sunday, 2 days, the weekend, I'm going to spend this weekend and complete the article writing process. You should not start thinking about it on Saturday morning. You have to keep thinking. I have 1 week or I have 10 days for that matter. So let me keep thinking. What are all the various things? Of course, there are results. But what are all the ways? What is it I wanted to communicate? How do I want to communicate? You keep thinking. Okay. And you would have developed some mental imagery of what to write and how to write. Once that is done, the first process is communicating this. Conceiving an idea. Okay. So what are all the various things, various questions that would arise? Mentally note them. Or much better, keep a notebook. Nowadays, mobile phones, smartphones have come out with a lot of options to take notes and other things. So you can keep adding your notes. Okay, this question I need to address. This is a gap that I need to address. So collate all of these things and get ready mentally, first of all. Get ready for that writing process. So on the day of writing, you set up a nice place, start the writing process. So this time, it's more like getting all the things ready. Take notes, don't start writing. Okay, recall from our 9th standard or 10th standard in the English paper or in the English 2 paper, I think, if I remember correctly, there will be something like, hints development, right? Is it still there in 9th, 10th? We develop hints into a story. Do we? Do we? Don't we?
yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir, of course.
Yes. So that hints development is going to help us here. In the introduction, what are the various things that we wanted to communicate? So 2 lines or 3 lines of hints. In the result section, of course, results are straightforward. So we will come back to it later. Discussion part. So what are the comparisons we are going to make? We are going to compare our results with the studies of A, studies of X, studies of Z. So all of these things. Keep those articles ready, whether it is physical copy or on your system, keep them ready. So that you can immediately go to the relevant places and compare them. So first, that process of what is it I'm going to write, take notes, and we are going to develop that into the next levels. Okay, so take one section. Where do we stop? We normally get stuck. Where are we stuck? We are normally stuck at, okay, what is it I wanted to write here? What is it I want to write? As I said earlier, you would write the title. That's the first thing that we would do. And then we would also write abstract, underline it, and do all the embellishments, and wait for the next perfect word to fall on the paper. All right. Now, this is where we are going to spend a lot of time, get into digression, and completely move out of the process. I already asked you, what is it? What is the feeling that you get when I ask you to write something? Okay. Now let me ask a different question. Okay. What is the happiest thing that you can do? What is your favorite? When I say do this, the favorite thing for you, you will immediately jump into that activity without even hesitating for a moment. What is it? Everyone will have some favorite activity, right? It could be reading, it could be cooking, it could be sleeping, it could be watching movie, it could be, hanging out with friends. What is the most favorite activity for you? Simple question, yeah.
Hanging out with my sister, sir. We love to do
Come
things
again?
together.
Come again?
Hanging out with my sister, sir. Hanging out with my sister. We love to do
Okay,
things
hanging
together.
out with your sister. Okay,
Yes, sir.
fantastic. Fantastic. How about others? Fantastic. I have company. So a lot of people love that. Going out for a trip. So what would make it exciting? Because we get high out of it with friends, hanging out with friends. Yes. Reading self-help books. Good. So we do that because we, at the end of the process, we gain some, kind of high, a feeling that makes you happy about it. Dopamines, neurodopamines, or something, whatever they call it, the chemicals that generates that makes you really, really happy. Why? Okay. Once, for the first time it happens, the next time you do it. Okay, you call it positive reinforcement. Next time you do it because you wanted to have that same kind of feeling. And you repeat it as much as possible, as many times as possible, because you wanted to continue to have that kind of feeling, right? So when writing becomes a joyous activity or a anxious activity, that also reflects in our practice, in our habit formation. If it is joyous, you do it the next time without much resistance. But if it is not, you find all reasons in the world to procrastinate. Procrastination is a manifestation of our problem. It's not a problem itself. We procrastinate, we keep things for a later time, we put it away because we are not happy doing it. If it is a happy thing, we will immediately grab that opportunity and jump on it. If it is not, we will find all excuses in the world to do it at a later point of time. It's not doing it at a later point of time. It is not doing it at this point of time. Okay, one day at a time, we wanted to keep it away. Okay, so it's a very, very simple solution to it. Let us take the same example. We do certain things that makes us happy. What is it we can do to make writing process happy? The related question is, what is it that keeps us away from the writing process? One, if you are not properly prepared, okay, we should keep thinking about it, come out with questions, come out with a structure, mental structure to do that. If there is no proper planning, then we are going to get into trouble. So it is aimless, it is directionless, and you are not going to happy about it. Naturally, you are going to stop it at some point of time. Once you have prepared and gathered all the information, then it is time to write. Okay. So what happens? Let's start with the section that we are comfortable with. Let me put it that way. So instead of writing is, many of us consider writing to be a linear process. Okay. As I said earlier, we start with the title and then write the abstract, give some keywords, and then introduction, methodology, results, discussion, conclusion, references, as if it is a one-way traffic, We just enter on the one side of the road and then exit on the other side of the road. You cannot come back. No, it is not. It is like a cooking process. It's non-linear. Okay. You get all the dal ready already. Okay. You cut all the vegetables before even frying it. Put the frying pan on the stove. Okay. So that is exactly what we are going to do. We are going to approach the writing process in a piecemeal structure. We are not going to approach that in a linear process. What is that? Let us start with the section that we are most comfortable with. Of these sections, abstract, introduction, methodology, results, discussion, conclusion. 6 sections. Okay. Of these 6, which is the one that you are most comfortable with? Everybody will be, without any exception. Unless you have done a poor study. Okay. Everybody will be comfortable with this one particular section. Which one is it? The one section that is owned by you. The one section in which you have spent a lot of time already. Let me ask you a different question. Why did you want to write that paper? Not because UGC told you to, not because your guide told you to. There is a strong reason you wanted to publish a paper. You cannot, overnight you think about it and then on a fine morning you cannot publish a paper, right? So if you want to publish a paper, you should have completed a study. Right? Now think about my question with this perspective. What is that one part, one section in the article that is more close to your heart? Writing interpretation will be the easiest when I get desired results in terms of high R square, goodness of it. Okay. So before you even interpret it, what do you need to interpret? Data collection. Good, ma'am. Now we are in between. As Prakash Raj would say. Writing the importance or need of the study. Okay. I'm talking about a section. Interpretation or results is one section. Sorry, interpretation or the discussion is one section. Data collection forms the basis, first part. So data collection, you are part of it. Geeta ma'am rightly said that data collection is part of your study. Okay. So analysis and review, yes, that comes after it. Data collection, classification, analysis comes after it. Okay. So the one section that is actually owned by you. Literature collection, literature review is by everybody else. Okay. So in this article, in the 6 sections that we mentioned earlier, introduction, starting with abstract, introduction, methodology, results, discussion, conclusion. So the one part that is closest to our work is actually our work, right? Ilya. The results section, objectives, objectives, you tell me. Okay, so the one section that is close to our work, is actually our work, the results section. Okay. So at any point of time, let's say you are in a conference. Ramanaya sir, yes, you want to say something?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead, sir.
Whether something is close to your heart, not a matter, but anyhow, you have to write all sections, no? Starting from introduction to close
I
conclusion,
did not say do
or
not write other
introduction for
sections.
future research. Okay.
I did not say do
What
not write other sections.
see it is not that we write one section, others will complete others, whether you like it or not, but anyhow you intended to write a paper and publish. In that case, once you have completed your study, complete results are ready, your other section you have ideas what to write, but what is close to you is not a matter. Anyhow you have to write all sections starting from
Okay.
inter.
Yes,
So
I
if
agree. I agree with your observation, sir, that
each
you need to
section if
write
you
down.
each section if you tell, suppose abstract, so abstract different journals will expect you author to write it different way. Some will expect you write it in a paragraph with the purpose of study, methods used, your originality, implication, etc. Some will give it the sub what you call the subheadings. Some journals, if you take Emerald journals, they clearly mention these are the subheadings in which you have to fit your abstract. Say purpose of study, methods used, okay, your the materials used, your originality, implications of study, like this. Some others will not, some journal will not ask specifically how to write it, but you have to write that your purpose of study in paragraph. You have to make sure that what is the purpose of study, what is the methodology used, it is implied, that 4 lines, what 5 lines, whatever it is, number of words that is specified. In that we have to write it without giving any subheadings. But some journals will specifically clearly mention that what are the subheadings of abstract. So where is the question of whether you are comfortable in writing abstract or introduction, or it is materials used or results discussion, you have to be whether you like it or not, you have to feel comfortable once you are done your research and then going for writing it. The others are not writing, no, if you are writing one part.
So let me answer that question.
Yeah, okay.
Let me go back.
From your side.
Yeah. So let me go back to that part where I explained. So one of the challenges is we are not able to convert that desire to write into actual writing, right? So we wanted to write a paper. As you rightly said, yes, the paper has to have all of these sections. You cannot say, I'm very comfortable with the result section, so I'm going to write only the result sections and others I'm not going. Of course not. We need to write everything. Okay. Now, that is about the final end product we are talking about. As an end product, it has to have all of these sections. As you said, yes, some of the abstracts could be unstructured, one single paragraph, 200, 250 words, or some other can be structured, we call it structured paragraphs, which has objectives, results, conclusions, everything has subheadings in it. Of course, it is part of the expectations of the journal. So that's a different story. So the point I'm trying to drive here, the point I'm trying to address here is the writing process, not the final outcome. Outcome is going to be there as a natural consequence of the process. Okay. So so coming back to that, we are stuck most of the times. We are stuck because we are not sure how to write, or we are not comfortable. We are not confident about writing a process. Okay. So we start with the one process that we are all comfortable with, because let's say a study you have completed, a questionnaire based survey. So you have completed it. Now, if let's say you are in a conference and colleagues are talking to you, and there is an opportunity for you to discuss or explain your study to others, you would not hesitate. You do not need the time to think about it or prepare. Why? Because you have already spent 6 months or even 9 months or even a year in conducting that study, formulating the research question, preparing the questionnaire, doing the pilot study, and then checking the Cronbach score, and collecting data, putting it together, cleaning up the data, and doing the SPSS analysis. You have done all of these things over a period of 6 months to 1 year. You don't really need any preparation to talk about it. So that's the point I'm trying to drive. The point is that start with the known and move into the unknown. That's the point I'm trying to drive here. So this is for the writing process. where if a person is stuck, we are stuck because we think of the article as a linear process, article writing as a linear process. We wanted to write the same way it appears. It is not necessary. Similar to cooking, we do not cook in the same way it is served or the same way we see it on the dining table. We do different things at different points of time and bring them together. Okay, so that is the idea that we are trying to apply in the writing process also. We are comfortable in writing the one things that we know, which is a actual study, which is involved in the result section, or maybe somewhere in the mostly in the result section. So let us write about that. And let's say there are 10 pages of your article. Okay, roughly 1.5 pages is dedicated to the introduction or methodology. Methodology comes next. Okay, and then your results, conclusion, and results, uh, discussion, analysis, and other things, they form 3 to 4 or even 5 pages. Okay, conclusion is around half a page to 1 page. So if you write about your study, then it is probably around 20 to 30% of your work already done. Okay, and that gives the same way we get a good feeling when we do things that we are happy about. You know, writing is a process. Most of us believe it is going to be difficult, but now we have started writing about the one thing that we know. Okay, and then you have completed 2 or 3 pages of that, and it gives us confidence. Number one, confidence. Number two, a sense of achievement, and it encourages us to write further without stopping this. Okay, the process doesn't get stopped. So the next one, we can go either to the methodology section or to the interpretation, the discussion section, depending on which one we are comfortable with. The next known area, the first one is completely known. It is actually owned by us. And from there, we go into the next level. And then we go into the introduction or the conclusion. A literature review comes into play there. Okay, so when you take this step-by-step approach, we start with the known area, and therefore we are comfortable about it. We write well, and it also provides you the confidence, the booster that takes you into the other sections that you may not be as comfortable with this. If you are already, yes, no problem. You have made a lot of a good literature collection. You have read a lot of article on that. So the moment you started thinking about comparisons, all of these articles come in front of you. Good, very good, well and good, no problem. So maybe this section is also comfortable for you. You don't have, when all of the sections are comfortable, if you are comfortable about writing all of the sections, you have already aced the writing process. No problem at all. This is for people who are finding it a bit difficult to motivate themselves to writing. Okay, for people who do not skip the process of writing because they are trying to approach it from a different perspective. So let's start with the known, our own work, and the next level, comparison other works, maybe even methodology, because again, methodology is you spend a lot of time in considering the various alternatives and chose one methodology. Again, something that you can talk about, write about without much sweating. Complete that part. Comparison with other studies, that part, and then go to introduction, go to conclusion. Finally, the abstract part. Okay, my recommendation is that you can do it the other way also. Abstract can be written at the initial stages. Sometimes you are expected to send an abstract, later you write the article. That is also possible. Okay, so basically what an abstract should consist of: the background. What is the background? Why is the study? What did you find? How did you find? Why is it important? If the abstract answers these 5 questions, then it is complete. Why is the study needed? The background. Okay, what is the background? Why is it needed? What did you find? What is the interpretation? How does it help? If you answer these 5 questions, then the abstract is ready. You can do it at the beginning, you can do it at the end, not a problem. Finally, the title. Okay, so do not consider our title as the first priority. Okay, that you can do it at a later point of time. So go to the titles at the later point of time and come up with alternatives. So the first ever title that you come up with, okay, so don't just stop it there. Try to come with more choices. The more choices you think about, the article title becomes more and more appealing, or becomes better and better. So that would be the process. Now sometimes people say writing is like an inverted pyramid. Pyramid is the most stable geometrical structure in the world, right? At least man-made geometrical structure. And the inverted pyramid is the most unstable thing because it stands on the tip, right? So one advice many established writers give is that think of your writing process as an inverted pyramid. Start with one idea and then slowly expand it to other ideas. Okay, if you extend that analogy here, that's exactly what we are trying to do here. Start with the one that you know and then extend to other things that you need information about from other sources. So once this is done, you have completed different sections and it is simply a matter of putting together into an article. Okay, so this process of moving from known to unknown will greatly help you in gaining confidence and also provide you the impetus to write a complete process, unlike the disincentive when you get disconnected at different points of time. So that's one. There's something called circle of failure. In the writing circle, this is discussed very often. Why people do not write? People do not write a lot because they are afraid of writing. There is fear of writing. Why is this fear? Fear stems from the fact that they received negative feedback, or probably they are not confident because of the negative feedback. Okay, so people think that okay, if I write, and somebody may say, okay, your writing is not good, your article has not come out well. So all of these negative things, the criticisms. So that undermines our confidence, which leads to less writing. So less writing means, again, less feedback, or you don't get it's a downward spiral. You slowly go to the bottom. Okay. On the other hand, you can consider the circle of failure. Just start writing, write a particular piece, give it to someone who can give you, good feedback, a constructive criticism. Try to incorporate that into your writing. Do some revisions. Give it for criticism. So keep going this process. Okay. So at some point of time, after a few iterations, you would have gained confidence in the writing process, in that outcome, because you have incorporated a lot of good feedback that you received from others. Okay, just don't give it to everybody you think of. One or two people who can give you honest feedback without hurting you. All right. So when you start doing that, the writing process also, the frequency with which you write, that also increases. It increases your confidence. It increases your writing, the quality of your writing, which means you will write more. And this circle goes on and on forever, but this time it is on the other side, on the upward side. Okay. The circle of failure is the vicious circle that will take you to the downward spiral. It's a downward spiral. It will take you to the bottom. On the other hand, the circle of success will take you to the top. But in order to do that, you have to break that circle of failure at some point of time. Okay, I'm not going to bother about the feedback. I'm not going to take it personally. I will consider only the merit of the feedback. Okay, it is not about me, it is about the writing process. I'll incorporate it. I'll write more. I'll seek more feedback. I'll write more frequently. So, and so on and so forth. And this spiral will take you to a higher level. So that is a process I wanted to explain here. So basically, one thing, you start with the known to the unknown. Second thing, don't think of the writing process as a linear structure. You start from the title to the references, you write in the same, and you can read it, you can present it in that manner. But the writing process is similar to the cooking process. You collect, you plan it well, collect the ingredients, prepare for cooking, and then cook. Okay, so collect it. The writing process is also similar. You think about it, plan what you want to write, how you want to write, what are the different things that you want to address. All of these things you plan first, collect all information, prepare the tables if possible at the first stage itself. Okay, developing the idea from a table is much easier than writing long passages without any support. And from there, complete sections independently of each other, bring them together, convert that into an article, give a good abstract, give a great title, and that is the end of the process. Comments, questions?
Participants, if you have any questions or want to share your thoughts, you can kindly unmute yourself.
Is there any other aspect of writing that you wanted to address, you expected to be addressed, that is not done? Okay. It's a very difficult audience you are.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, Joanna, please go ahead.
Sir, the question is, it may not be relevant to today's session, but I have this doubt for a very long period of time. I need clarity on what is meant by bias assessment, sir, because
What is?
uh, bias assessment, because I came across many review papers. They are claiming to include bias assessment in their paper, but I'm not sure what it is, or like in
I
systematic literature. Yes, sir.
I
I'm not.
I I don't have a faintest idea, Joanna. I'm really sorry.
It's okay, sir. That's
I'll
what
look
like.
up and probably help you there.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, shall I ask it?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Sir, sir, Anapana Gopal sir have asked this question, sir.
Hmm.
Everyone is focused on Scopus and UGC careless journals only, but
Hmm.
it needs more amount to publish. How can a researcher afford this for not enough funding? He has asked, sir.
Okay. See, first of all, why should everyone think about publishing a paper in Scopus or Web of Science? Why people say, okay, maybe your university, your college, your guide, UGC, anyone you meet, okay, literally anyone you meet, they'll say, okay, you have to publish a paper in, Scopus indexed journals or Web of Science indexed journals. So let us first ask the question, why? Anyone?
Paper published in Scopus set the standards, sir. Standardized
Yes,
frameworks.
absolutely right. So Scopus and Web of Science have laid down standards for journals. Okay, so it's like BIS Agmark symbol on the products, in the food products or on the helmets or any product that we buy. The moment we say ISI, what does that mean? It gives me the confidence that this process or this product has met or come out of stringent quality expectations, procedures. So when someone says my article has been published in a Scopus indexed journal, that means that I have published in a journal that has met the stringent quality expectations of either Scopus or Web of Science. Sometimes many journals are indexed in both these bodies. That's a different story. So that's the reason why you are expected to publish in in an indexed journal. Indexing could be anything, PubMed. There are a lot of indexing bodies. Okay, so how much to pay for it? If you are having funding, of course, there is no problem. The funder will assign some money for publication. I'm not a fund, I'm not a, I don't have any funded research, so I need to do it on my own. How can I afford? Okay, first of all, even journals that charge you a lot. For example, a particular journal charges you 50,000 rupees or 70,000 rupees for publication via open access. All right. If you go do some search within the journal, you will find that there are some waivers available. First of all, you need to understand that there are a lot of open access journals that are free. Okay, even though they are open access, they do not charge the authors any money. The what is called the APC, article publishing charges. So there are journals with zero APC, which means you need not pay money, but at the same time your article will be open access. Number one. Number two, many journals are there that provide waivers, reduced fee for people from countries under a different socio-economical status. I think World Bank has classified all the countries of the world into developing countries, middle income countries, lower middle income countries, lower income countries. Okay, so any country that falls under lower middle income or low income countries, they get some kind of waiver. Sometimes it is even 50-60% depending on the journal. But this is different for different journals. You need to find that information from the journal page. All the journals provide this information in a separate page called open access policies or something like that. You need to take the time to find that information and see if India is a lower middle income country according to World Bank classifications, which means most of the journals provide waiver for authors who publish from India. So there is a possibility that one, you are able to find a journal that is completely zero charges for publication via open access. That's number one. I'm not talking about subscription journals. I'm talking about open access only. So completely free open access journals are also available. Number two, even in other open access journals, they provide some waivers for lower middle income countries, but you need to find that information from their journal page.
Sir,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Anapana Gopal sir has commented, sir, in YouTube live. He only asked the question. He has commented that for any job applications, they are asking Scopus and UGC only. UGC chairman sir stated that no need to focus on research journals, just focus on PhD work. But it's not working in the ground level. He has shared his thoughts, sir.
Okay. So the idea behind, so I think in 2016 or 2017, so around that time, UGC came out with that mandate that every PhD scholar has to publish 2 papers. Okay, and in indexed journals. That's the expectation. That is a UGC mandated expectation. All right. The reason is that among other reasons, one of the primary reasons stated is that it will improve the quality of our work. Earlier, there were a lot of malpractices happening in terms of completing a PhD. Okay, I don't want to get into the details of it. I'm sure, as an experienced person, he knows that. So what happens is that a PhD without any publication may not be really worthy. So they started insisting that the researcher has to publish at least 2 papers. The expectation is that if it is published in a Scopus indexed journal, which means the PhD cannot be simply at a superficial level, it has to be uh, good enough. Okay, but in 2021, I think at the end of 21 or end of 22, early 23, UGC withdrawn this expectation. UGC withdrew this expectation. Again, this time the rationale is that many of the institutes of national institutes of importance, okay, like IITs or IIMs, they do not fall under UGC, but at the same time they produce really high quality work. So probably UGC realized that mandate of 2 articles for any PhD scholar to submit a thesis did not really turn out resulted in the expected in an expected manner. So they say, so instead of talking about the outcome, let us talk about the fundamental requirements. But as you rightly said, even the UGC has withdrawn that expectation or the mandate. Most of the universities, colleges, and departments have kept that as part of their expectation, because UGC, in a roundabout manner, has made it a need for institutions. Because I'm sure you know this. Whenever there is a NAC review comes up, we get into frenzied preparations for NAC, right? So one section that talks about is the research activities that happen in the institution. How many papers your college has or the institution has published, how many conferences you conducted, how many conferences your students and faculty members have attended. So instead of directly saying do it this way, UGC started putting pressure indirectly by focusing on what is happening at the ground level. So that's why if universities and institutions started saying, okay, you don't have to publish papers for PhD submission, nobody will bother about publication. Okay, I'm sure if you look at the international scenario and global scenario and the Indian scenario, we are at a lot of catch up needs to be done at that level. Okay, so they are talking about plan yes, plan O for open access and other things. A lot of discussions are happening. There is a great website called Retraction Watch, which closely follows and follows the retractions that happen around the world. Okay, so research integrity, publication integrity, these are all some some topics that are happening that are being discussed vividly in the international scenario. But at the Indian level, it's my observation, I may be wrong, I wish I were wrong, we are still talking about publication at a very basic level. So for us, there needs to be a lot of catch up to meet the international standards of what is happening. Especially the Chinese are way ahead of us in terms of publication. Of course, there are problems associated with also. Now we call paper mill publications, publication in poor quality journals. Okay, so recently they call it uh, gray publishing. Okay, not the gray literature, that's different. Gray publishing, which means not going for the high quality journals, going for the bottom end of the journals for easy access. So we try, whenever there is a rule, we will try everything possible to come around that rule and bend it according to our expectations. When there is a law, there is a loophole, right? So that's why even the UGC said you don't have that is not mandatory, but it also left it to the discretion of the universities and private institutions. So these institutions are keeping it as mandatory because this is part of every other ranking in the country, whether it is NIRF, whether it is NAC accreditation, everything revolves around the research activity that happens. And one indicator is publications. That's why it's going to be there. And I don't think it is going to go away anytime soon. In fact, this this need for publication is only going to intensify in the upcoming years. So that is one of the reasons we have titled this program "Publish to Progress," because earlier it is the most common phrase is "publish or perish." Okay, that provided a lot of negative connotations, and that's where people started thinking about what are all the loopholes available for me to publish papers. So we are saying that publications are for your progress. They are not the other way around. They are not pressures on you, but it is a mechanism for you to utilize to progress. There are a couple of other questions came up here. Yes, I think Felix sir was expecting something along these lines. Our art of writing is rewriting. Okay, so that's what I talked about. Maybe I did not exactly use those words. I talked about the upward spiral of circle of success, right? Where you write, get feedback, incorporate that into your writing, rewrite, and you keep doing it. Once you attain that stage of confidence, you're confident about your own writing. The more and more feedback you receive from others and incorporate that, you will know, okay, so these are all the mistakes that I'm doing. So this time I'm going to. So the next time, the next draft that you write, maybe it is a completely different idea you're talking about, or maybe the same draft, it becomes better because you are incorporating the gaps, you are incorporating the mistakes that you have, the feedback on the mistakes that you did. So that keeps, so anything, one of the golden rules of, forming writing habit is practice, practice, practice. Okay, that is also the reason we ask the question, how frequently you write. Even if you are a good writer, if you do not write practice, write regularly, at some point of time you are going to lose that grip on writing. Okay, so it is important certainly for any researcher to develop that habit of writing and make it a process. One good way is to write journals. Okay, journal writing is, I'm not talking about the academic journals. Okay, journal writing is basically uh, uh, you know uh, it's more like a diary, but not exactly a diary. Diary is a happening of events, but journaling is about registering your wishes, expectations, goal, aspirations. Okay, uh, it's a secret alter ego, physical alter ego for you. So you can start writing journals, which means you give words, you give shape to your ideas at some point of time. So that also helps you in writing. Yes, rewriting really helps. Nowadays, most of the scholars are affected in terms of publication process. Is it entirely different from university to university? Yes, sir. Yes, it is different from university to university. But most of the universities have a minimum requirement of two publications per PhD scholar in order to submit thesis. I have heard about some private universities in Chennai that insist 4 papers and 2 international conferences, one in national and another international conference. So this is basically how universities want to, take advantage of this. Okay, I'm not really sure if I can use that word, take advantage of, but it's basically the strategies that each universities will have for their work. So it will be different, yes. How many authors are entered in single papers in art faculty than the, there is no difference, sir. There is no difference between science or arts. As many people as needed. Okay, this is one of the questions related to publication integrity or research integrity also. You cannot include a person who has not significantly contributed to your work. For example, a copy editor. A copy editor can help you write a good draft. That doesn't mean that he is or she is part of your work. At the same time, you may have done a work. I hear a lot of stories. People say, I give you 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees. You just include me as part of your research work. The next paper, just include me as a co-author. I will include yours as co-author. Once again, go to Retraction Watch. The site is called the Retraction Watch. You will find a lot of instances, international scenarios where people favor. I'm not talking about people at a very common level, at a bottom level. I'm talking about people in the peak of their in their disciplines. Okay, so they have fallen prey to this. They have admitted that they included somebody without them contributing anything to the work, okay, for in favor of something else. And they have faced a lot of problems. Sometimes they have to resign their work, they have to give up all the grants that they worked, and they are stripped of certain medals that they received. Okay, I'm not able to recollect the names immediately, but this is a very serious problem internationally. So one answer is you can include as many names, but at the same time, each of the person included in the author list should have contributed significantly to the work. Okay, what else? Can I say novelty in research methods? Since research, I mean, I think it's the methodology. I'm not really sure about this part. Can I come back to you on that, ma'am? Who was this? Geeta, ma'am, I'll come back to you on that. Whether to write problem statement first or literature review and then problem statement later. As I said earlier, sir, I consider the writing process as a piecemeal approach. Okay, it is not a one-way, journey. You start at one point and exit at the other point, writing down everything. So you collect different parts. So my approach is you write whichever is most comfortable to you. Okay, if you are comfortable with all the sections equally, then there is no difference at all. The suggestion I am trying to give here is for people who are finding the writing process a bit difficult, bit challenging, a bit daunting. Sometimes it is prohibitive. Sometimes it is, it actually stops them from carrying out the writing process. For these people, write whichever section that you are most comfortable with. It could be anything. It could be the problem statement. It could be your, methodology selection, or it could be the results, or it could be the discussions, it could be the comparison or review of literature, it could be anything. But the point is, write the one that you are most comfortable with and slowly progress to the other parts. Oh, I'm sorry. In the text of the paper, where do you place problem statement? After review of literature or before? My understanding is that the problem statement has to come before literature review, because you set the background, you explain what is the need for your study, why did you do what you did, okay, and then you explain the literature, okay, the literature gap. Okay, so I think that is the way you go forward. Thank you, ma'am. Any questions on the YouTube channel?
No, sir. YouTube channel, that's all, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Participants, is there any other question? Okay, sir. So, shall we conclude, sir?
Yes, ma'am, sure. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for yet another wonderful session, sir. It was truly a counseling session to develop the writing habits, sir. I'm sure that, sir, today's session would have kindled that spirit in everyone to start writing or to continue the writing that they have left in between, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It was really motivating. I would also like to thank all the participants for their active participation and for their interaction. Thank you so much. The feedback form has been shared. Kindly fill the feedback form, and tomorrow we shall meet at the same time. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.